of You Cannot Save Everybody, part two. Said I was going to do it. I did a part one a couple of days ago, and I felt like I said I could do part two today. So, what I want to talk about in brief, as a continuum, as part two, You Cannot Save Everyone. I think I kind of opened up with my last session. Is like, I really love people, love helping people, love encouraging people, love looking out for people, love people, just want to help. But I realize I can't save everybody. That's one of the things that you have to come to grips with, is that no matter how much you may love people, no matter how much you're trying to help people, no matter how much you're trying to look out for people, you can only do so much. It comes to a point where that individual that you're looking out for, or individuals that you're looking out for, eventually they're going to have to make up in their mind that not only they're going to have to do for themselves. Listen, you can do for somebody, you can look out for somebody, you can open some doors from somebody, but unless they walk through that door, unless they take the opportunity that is given and make the best of the opportunity, and take the initiative to start making better decisions and doing things for themselves. It doesn't matter how many doors you open for somebody. It doesn't matter how much money you give somebody. It doesn't matter how much you try to help guide somebody. You cannot save everybody. Do not burn yourself out. Do not stress yourself out. Do not cause yourself more heartache and pain trying to save everybody. You can't do it. I'm starting to think there are just some people that don't want to be saved. They want the help, but it gets me to a point when you try to help some people, it gets to a point where you just realize that some people really don't want to be helped. Some people really don't want to change. Some people really don't want to make the right decisions so they can have a better life. There's just some people that they're just stuck. They're just stuck in a bad situation. They're stuck with a bad thought life, and they don't want to do the things that's going to make life better. And so you cannot stress yourself out. You cannot stroke yourself out. Some people will try to help somebody out to the point where you have a heart attack, you have a stroke, now you're stressed out, now you're in financial debt and all this kind of thing, trying to help people out. You cannot save everybody. You have to come to grips that you can only help somebody so far. You can only help them so far. This is part two. For those who may see this, those who may jump on, this is part two of You Cannot Save Everybody. You can't. I can't. You cannot save everybody. You can try. You can do what you can, but you cannot save everybody. You can only help people but so far. You can only, and then you know what the reality of it is, you need to determine, depending upon who you're trying to help, you need to determine how much you're going to help guide them. You need to determine that. You need to even let that person know, hey, this is what I can offer, this is what I can do, but from this point, you're going to have to figure it out. Because why? What people will do is people will drain you. People will use you as that financial resource. People will drain you and use you for whatever they can get out of you and still don't change. You cannot save everybody. You cannot be the next victim of being abused and used because you're trying to help somebody or because you love somebody. As much as we love our family, we know that there's only certain family members we can help, and we know how far we can help them. We know as much as we can do for them. You have to get in your mind that, listen, as I help somebody, I'm not their savior. You're not Superman. You're not somebody's savior. You're only trying to help give some guidance. You're only trying to help give them some encouragement, but you can only go so far, because eventually that individual or those individuals are going to have to want to do for themselves. They're going to have to want to change for themselves. You can't save everybody, and you can't stress yourself out. You cannot be losing sleep trying to save somebody. You can only do so much. You can only help people so much. And they have to come to grips of guess what? I have to take the help that I'm getting. I have to use what is being given to me, and I'm going to have to use it. I'm going to have to do the best what I can do with it. They're going to have to take whatever resources you gave them and make better decisions and make all the changes they need to make so they can do better for themselves. You have to listen. You have to understand, some people have to desire and want to do better for themselves. You can set them up with a job and they don't even come to the interview. It could be a great paying job, but they don't but they don't even come to the interview, don't even take the opportunity. Listen, you can only help some people so much. You can only help so much. But you shouldn't be going in debt. You shouldn't be losing sleep or getting stressed out because you're trying to help somebody that don't want to change and they really don't want the help. They just want to use you as a crutch or the resource. So don't become a victim of that. So this is my part 2. I wanted to say something in short. I know I gave a story last time about, running into a childhood friend that I grew up with, and through the course of our childhood and adulthood, you try to help some people, and the reality of it is, no matter how much you try to help them, unless they want to help themselves, unless they want to make change, if they're not willing to make the change, it's just not going to happen. And so that was part 1, and how I shared it was just sad because we graduated the same year, and he looked far older than me. Why? Because of the decisions he was making. It wasn't that he didn't have good parenting. He had both parents in the home, and loving parents and very supportive parents. And sometimes you can get all this love and all this support, and the reality of it is that individual that you're giving your love and the support to has to still make good decisions. They have to still take sound and good advice. And when they don't take sound and good advice, you're going to see the results of it. And it was just sad to see a childhood friend that you grew up with, straight A student, smart, intelligent in school, and then just to see, life happens. Just make a couple wrong decisions will deter the rest of your life for some people. Some people never bounce back. Some people never bounce back from a bad decision. It's just, I don't know why. I don't know if they just don't have the determination. I don't know if they just give up hope. But it is so crucial and so important that you value your decisions. You value and really take into consideration that if I make this decision, what is the outcome of this decision? How could this decision change my life? Could it change my life for the better, or is it going to change my life for the worse? So take in account every decision you have to make. All right? Take in account everybody that you're trying to help. Take in account. You don't always have to give them money. Money cannot always be the result, because we know when we try to help people with money, we know some people use it on drugs, some people use it on alcohol, some people gamble it away. So there are so many different things that people do with money. So even with that, you got to be wise in even sharing whatever extra money you may have that you're trying to give to somebody. It may not be wise. If somebody's hungry, then go get them some food. That's probably far better than trying to give them money and think that they're going to use that money to go get food. No, they're going to probably, depending upon their life situation, they may use that money in the wrong way. And here you are thinking that you're doing a good deed because you gave them money. Money could have been the wrong thing to do. And oftentimes when you try to help somebody and you say, look, if you're hungry, man, I'm going to go get you something to eat. If you're thirsty, man, I can go buy you something to drink. Oftentimes when you say that and people decline it, it's because they had other alternative motives with the money that they were looking for you to give. And so you can't save everybody. You probably got childhood friends. You probably got people that you may have talked to, or you just looked at their course of life and they just started making bad decisions. And you even try to encourage them like, hey, man, you need help. These life decisions you're making, man, life ain't life, and life is getting worse for you. And when you keep making wrong decisions, yes, that will aid you. That will aid you because of stress. Bad decisions, you talking about people getting gray hairs and looking older than they should. Listen, when you make wrong decision after wrong decision, and you're getting advice after advice, and people trying to pour into you and people trying to help you, and you just choose to keep making wrong decisions, or you just choose not to listen, you can only help somebody so far. There's only so much advice I'm going to give somebody. If you ain't taking the advice that I gave you, why in the world I'm going to continue to give you advice? Why am I going to continue to lead and guide you, or give you some guidance, or give you some structure, if you're not willing to take the advice I'm currently giving? Why am I going to spend time and energy conjuring up other good things I can tell you and give you guidance if you're not willing to take in the guidance and information I gave you. You and I cannot save everybody. I'm giving you every possible situation that you and I face on a daily basis or a monthly basis or just throughout life. We see people that need help, and no matter how much you try to help them, some people never leave the position that they're in. They never want to shift from the position that they're in. They just want to stay stuck right where they are. And you're helping them stay stuck every time you help them right where they are. And especially if they don't want to shift, especially if they don't want to get out of that place that they're in and get the proper help that they need so they can better their life. And so you can only help somebody so far. So you have to make up in your mind, how much am I going to help somebody that seems like they don't want to help themselves? How much am I going to pour into somebody that seems like they're listening, but they're not fully listening because they're not carrying out the advice and instructions I'm giving? You have to determine how much time and energy are you going to put into people that don't want to change. And so as I come to a close, that is my part 2 of you can't save everybody. This is my part 2. You can't. You can only go so far, and you need to decide how far are you going to go when it concerns or is concerning helping somebody. If they're not willing to take your advice, you need to make up your mind that, listen, this is all I'm going to do. So I pray that this video has helped you. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to share. Just wanted to jump on here real quick and do a part 2 of you cannot save everybody. If you're just jumping on, I encourage you to go back to the beginning of this video when I close it out to hear part 2 of you cannot save everybody. You cannot. As much as you may love people, as much as you want to help people, you cannot save everybody. And don't burn yourself out. Don't stress yourself out. Don't bring yourself to bad health condition, bad terms on your own life, trying to help somebody that's not willing to change, and they're only abusing and taking advantage of you because they see that you're vulnerable and they see that you want to help, and they're using their help. They're feeding off of you, not to change, but they're feeding off of you because of your resources. So you have to examine and come to the conclusion that, hey, I can't help you. There's some people, as much as I love them, I tell them, listen, I've done all I can do. I gave you a little bit of money. I gave you some advice. I called some people for you, and you ain't take none of this that I've given you and used it in the right way. At this point, you're going to have to figure it out because I've given you enough information, resources, and connections. And if they ain't willing to take it, you can't save everybody. So listen, God bless. Tune in next time to one of my inspirational moments. Tune in this Sunday at 11 a.m. for Sig Ministry Worship and Word Experience. We had an awesome revival the past couple of days. Feel free to go back and watch those videos. The spiritual insight and revelation and unveiling that God has given me just to unveil, just to impart into you. So listen, tune in to one of those revival videos. It is on my page, so definitely tune in. Pray that you are blessed. Feel free to share, be encouraged, and tune in next time. God bless.